Hello friend, I hope you're doing well today. This video is part of what is now kind of becoming a series on demisexuality. Today I'm going to be busting some myths about demisexuality, most of which I found in the comment sections of my own demisexuality videos. Demisexuality is just a trait or a preference, not a real sexuality, because it needs another term to go with it to describe the gender or genders you're attracted to. So demisexuality is definitely a real sexuality because it falls under the ace umbrella. So asexuality, definitely a real sexuality, has subsets such as demisexuality. And also people argue that demisexuality has to have another label to go along with it to identify gender or genders you're attracted to, which is not true either. A lot of people will just use the label demisexual. Demisexuality doesn't need a label because it's just normal. So for one thing, I don't believe that demisexuality is like the norm, because I've known a lot of demisexual people who felt like there was something wrong with them until they discovered the term demisexuality. And even if it was normal, like heterosexuality used to be considered like normal, but it still has a label, so that doesn't discount the existence of that label. People who identify as demisexual just want attention. If I just wanted attention for my demisexuality, I would be way more in your face about it, like, trust me. And it comes with a lot of negative attention too, so it's not very desirable. People shouldn't use the word demisexuality because I don't like it. This is a great example of just letting people do things that make them happy when it doesn't affect you. It's bizarre how much I see this come up. It's just people like, I think that this is terrible and everyone should stop using this term. And it's like, okay, let people do what they want. Being demisexual is the same as choosing not to have sex. I think that this misconception is why people think that demisexuality is normal. Demisexual people don't have a choice in the matter. It's the same as any other sexuality where they just feel what they feel. Demisexual people actually don't have any sexual attraction towards anyone unless they have an emotional bond with that person. So it's definitely not the same thing as feeling that attraction and then just choosing not to act on it. All these new labels are unnecessary. Labels like demisexuality can be incredibly comforting and affirming to people. Like, I use this example whenever I'm talking about demisexuality basically, but there's people that I've known who have felt like there was something wrong with them until they found the word demisexuality. And so if that's not useful, I don't know what is. Demisexuality is just a label that straight people use to piggyback on the LGBT plus movement. So joke's on you, but actually, lots of demisexual people also identify with another term within the LGBTQ plus umbrella. In fact, I think that the vast majority of demi people I know identify as part of the LGBTQ plus community for a reason other than just being demisexual. Coming up with new labels such as demisexuality makes allies take the whole LGBTQ plus movement less seriously. If you have this hypothetical ally out here who comes across the term demisexual and doesn't like it for whatever reason, and then decides to discount the whole LGBTQ plus movement, then they probably weren't that good of an ally to begin with. You can't identify as demisexual unless you feel like that label could describe you forever. Now, this misconception in particular is the only one that I see coming from people who think that they might be demi, as opposed to people who come into my comments section to tell me why they don't think demisexuality is a thing. Sexuality can be totally fluid, and lots of people experience change in what labels they use and their experiences throughout their lifetime. And so choosing to use the word demisexual to describe yourself does not have to be like a lifelong commitment or anything. And if you're nervous about starting to use the label, I always encourage people to kind of just try it out a little bit. like think of yourself as demi or tell someone or something like that. I've actually been thinking about making a video about different ways to like try on a label, if anyone would be interested in that. So those were all the myths about demisexuality that I encounter pretty frequently. Although there's definitely more, so I may do a part 2 eventually. I'll link to all of my other demisexuality videos up here in case you want to check those out. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you next week.